In the sun-drenched lowlands, a horned Gaboon viper lies in absolute stillness, its patterned scales forming the ultimate camouflage for a perfect ambush. As an unsuspecting mouse wanders close, the viper strikes with terrifying speed, its immense fangs injecting a catastrophic dose of paralyzing venom. Beneath the surface of this seemingly tranquil savanna, a subterranean nursery breathes life, where vulnerable honey badger cubs rely entirely on their mother's fierce protection. Driven by the foundational instinct of survival, the matriarch emerges into the open, navigating a landscape where life and death are separated only by a fraction of a second. Having swallowed its meal, the heavy-bodied serpent turns its calculating gaze toward a new horizon, driven by an insatiable primal instinct. Slithering with unsettling silence, the cold-blooded predator glides through the dry leaf litter, an embodiment of nature's calculating precision, hunting with deadly patience. As the viper converges upon the very threshold of the badger's burrow, the tension in the air thickens, signaling an inevitable collision of two formidable survival strategies. High above the plains, the honey badger mother leaves her cubs, driven by an ancient hunger towards the jagged cliffs where wild honeycombs hang precariously. Scaling near vertical stone walls with evolutionary mastery, she braves the heights, her dense fur and thick skin customized for the inevitable stings of furious defenders. But nature's rewards demand an immense price. A devastating fall from the cliff shatters her quest, leaving her stunned on the unforgiving ground below. Unbeknownst to the mother, the silent leviathan, the Gaboon viper, has already breached the threshold of her subterranean nursery, sliding deeper into the darkness. Inside the burrow, the viper unveils its terrifying arsenal, widening its jaws in a silent display of lethal power that could end a life in a fraction of a second. The helpless cubs are suddenly trapped with a nightmare, cornered by a cold, calculating predator whose venomous gaze threatens to extinguish their fragile existence. The air turns ice cold as the viper exposes its long, needle-sharp fangs, a masterpiece of biological weaponry poised above the trembling cubs. Miles away, recovering from her fall, a sudden surge of maternal instinct strikes the mother, shattering her temporary slumber with an unsettling sense of dread. Guided by an invisible cord of evolutionary anxiety, she sprints across the scorched earth, desperately racing against time to protect what she holds most dear. Reaching the entrance, she sniffs the heavy air, catching the terrifying scent of an intruder, and unleashes a ferocious roar of maternal fury before plunging into the abyss. A chaotic, brutal clash erupts in the tight confines where teeth and fangs blur in a desperate struggle for family survival. Clinging with primordial grit, the mother attempts to pin the writhing predator, using her sheer weight to suppress its lethal mobility. The Gaboon viper retaliates with blinding speed, launching a series of explosive, venomous strikes that puncture the air like daggers. With raw, terrifying force, the Leviathan drives its massive fangs repeatedly into its opponent, unleashing a catastrophic onslaught to break the mother's indomitable spirit. Caught in a suffocating embrace with no immediate escape, the mother's sharp intellect takes over, triggering a brilliant and risky survival strategy. Knowing she cannot overpower the viper's constriction by brute force, she consciously chooses to play dead, completely relaxing her body to deceive the predator. Her movements cease. Her eyes glaze over in a masterclass of evolutionary deception, slowing her breath to convince the viper that its work is done. As the viper slowly relaxes its grip, convinced of its triumph, the mother lies in total stillness, a dormant volcano waiting for the perfect moment to erupt. The deception pays off. As the viper lowers its guard, the mother transforms from deathly still into a tempest of raw maternal fury. A relentless, claustrophobic battle unfolds as she uses her incredible immunity and razor-sharp claws to neutralize the deadly serpent. Every strike from the mother is calculated to shatter the predator's defense, turning the sanctuary of her nursery into a stage of absolute survival. The viper's reign of terror is violently crushed. With a final decisive bite, the mother subdues the ultimate apex predator of the lowlands. But the triumph demands a heavy toll. As the adrenaline fades, the combined weight of sheer exhaustion and residual venom begins to overwhelm her system. Her powerful limbs grow heavy, and with a final, weary breath, the matriarch collapses into a deep, alarming unconsciousness beside her fallen foe. Then, a miraculous awakening. Driven by the unyielding bond of motherhood, she stirs, her eyes opening to the profound relief of her trembling offspring. As a peaceful calm returns to the burrow, this resilient family prepares to face the vast savanna once more, indomitable, united, and reborn.